Artificial selection, also known as selective breeding, is used for just that, breeding selectively. Today we will be exploring artificial selection in more depth and find out exactly why it's used. It is defined by Dictionary.com as a process in the breeding of animals and in the cultivation of plants in which the breeder chooses to only perpetuate those forms having certain desirable inheritable characteristics. Artificial selection demonstrates the diversity that can exist among organisms that share a relatively recent common ancestor. In a single species, every generation of offspring are bred selectively, which ensures that only organisms with desirable traits are reproduced. This forces those traits to become increasingly dominant throughout generations, essentially evolving or creating a new species. This idea came about long before Darwin and was originally thought of by farmers and breeders to use specific selection of traits in their plants and animals over a long period. They only allowed those with the traits that were desirable to the farmers and breeders to reproduce, which created the gradual evolution of farm stock. Natural and artificial selection are two completely different methods of evolution. According to Dictionary.com, evolution is change in the gene pool of a population from generation to generation by such processes as mutation, natural selection, and genetic drift. Natural selection is when a species evolves and adapts to their surroundings. Dictionary.com defines it as the process by which forms of life having traits that better enable them to adapt to specific environmental pressures as predators, changes in climate, or competition for food or mates will tend to survive and reproduce in greater numbers than any other of their kind, thus ensuring the perpetuation of those favourable traits in succeeding generations. It includes a variation in traits, reproduction is differential, and heredity is visible, resulting in a species with offspring that becomes common and therefore allows the species to entirely adapt. Artificial selection, on the other hand, is a species being developed to produce a species with desirable traits. Using this method, it allows for desired traits to become dominant quickly and effectively, adds to the potential profit, increases the quality of the offspring, and can be used in every industry. Although there are many benefits to selective breeding, it can also have negative effects. It could force unanticipated results, encouraging a trait that isn't needed, minimizes the variation in the gene pool, and the lifespan of the organism could be lowered. Hunting is another form of selective breeding. The bigger and better looking animals are chosen and hunted, therefore forcing the traits that make animals weak and scrawny to be passed on to the offspring, causing the desirable traits to be removed from the gene pool. Selective breeding is a method of reproduction which makes for offspring organisms with desirable traits. If the method is used enough, it could create a completely new species which has been improved more and more each generation. This introduces additions to gene pools and gives lots of opportunity for changes to be made to species.